So there is a reason why I try not to write poetry. Well, first of all, I can't get anything to rhyme at all, which you probably have seen in my poem. If you can call it a poem,
There are a few rhymes,
yeah.
honestly.
It's basically the poem that I wrote is basically an essay which pretends to be which pretends to be.
Yeah. It was free flow, but there were some interesting concepts in there.
Yeah, I like reading your writing because oftentimes I think when I'm going through it is only you could have made this. Like nobody else on Earth could have wrote these words. Especially like I'm just randomly put like anime references, just like in there. I spotted two. Like how many in total did you add? Because I saw two. Was that like it or
I mean,
is there like more in there?
I mean, there was obviously the references to Ango, the references. I guess No Longer Human might count as an anime, not really.
No.
No, okay. And obviously the best anime of all time, Fate Stay Night. What other reference did you see? I must have been unconscious if you noticed any other ones.
I'll have to find it. Oh god. I'll tell you when I find it. Oh yes. To not be a
Immediately.
doll or a pig. I was like, is this like an Evangelion reference? Is he saying we shouldn't be a doll as Oscar told to Ray?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But
Be a doll. I know. It's
As
it's
long as
it's
it's not
it's because
that
of that.
reference.
Yeah, it's because of the it's because of that like Shiro quote you included. Like my brain just like started looking for things after that. But yeah,
people die when they are killed. So
yeah. People die when they're killed.
I so the problem that I have with poems usually is that I can't understand what they're saying, and like when I'm reading a poem, or at least when I use like in school when we used to read poems and stuff, like I wouldn't understand what the poem was saying until it was like explained to me by like especially if there's a plot or something going on, rather than a bunch of random ideas. Because I don't know, I remember in a lot of the poems that we used to do in school, like it wasn't just like the poet talking about his feelings or whatever, uh, but there was like a story or something
Yeah.
on top
Yeah,
of it.
you not say that all poems need to be like this, but many poems usually try to weave a narrative as loose as it may be. And let's not forget most of the famous like poems
Yeah.
of the past usually are very long stories about either famous characters or famous events.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, the Epic of Gilgamesh, I'm sure it was in rhyme because it was something that usually was told either in like places where people would meet, and then later on you've got like bards and troubadours roaming, you know, inns and various places, like trying to get money by singing stories of great heroes or funny stories or erotic stories. There were all kind of
Yeah.
stories were
Yeah,
sung.
the thing is that like I would be very interested, like in class I would be very interested, like I would just go there just to hear the teacher explain what the hell the poem is saying, and then like I would find it interesting, but
Mhm.
but just by reading the poem by itself I wouldn't get it. So your poem,
Yeah.
so it's about a vampire dying, isn't it?
Well, accepting, like wishing to die.
See, that's what I said. I, It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Okay. Okay. I thought that he was actually dying, but no. Okay.
Well, if you read towards the end, it's like inviting the other person that's in the room. It's like a vampire hunter or something like this to just end his life, and he wants to reveal
Okay.
finally understood what this pain that he felt was. It was in his sickness, etc.
I see. I realized that there was a vampire hunter. I thought that he was thinking this stuff in his head as the vampire hunter was killing him. But no. So
Sort of. Well,
yeah.
it's not too far from the reality. Like it's sort of talking to himself while this person is there, and he wishes for this person to just end his miserable existence. That was the point of the story. That all of a sudden you realize, oh, there is someone else in the room with him.
Ah. By the way, are vampires supposed to be infertile? I guess they are. Didn't think about that, but yeah.
Most of the times, yes. But I do believe there are some. Depends on the folklore, honestly. Most of the times, I do believe they are considered infertile because they are not truly alive.
What does Wyrim mean?
Hmm?
WYRM.
Verm
Worm. Yeah.
is it's the root word for both worm in English and for wyvern. The other type of dragon,
Yeah.
and often also a word linked to um, because of the second connection is also linked to the undead, because wyverns are usually seen as the either evil counterpart to dragons or even worse than dragons in a sense. It was like a loose connection to the idea of this never-ending pain and the idea that it's like a worm. I was basing some of the ideas around various passages in the Bible, like where the prophet Isaiah talks about uh, the um, the place where the worm will never end. In a sense, is the idea the corruption is like you know a worm is something that you imagine eating the dead, and so it's this idea of something eating at you forever, which is hell.
Nice.
And so, in a sense, it was a reflection of this idea of this pain that keeps going on.
Um.
And at the same
Yeah.
time, is a reference to vampires at large. It was a bit too cryptic, maybe.
No, no, it's my fault. So,
No, no, probably I went a bit too overboard with the symbolism.
so
Yeah, I just
yeah.
yeah, I mean I wish I could like read out loud properly, because I think like this would be great to actually read out your poem. This is actually like pretty good quality. I think like I was thinking back to all the poetry I was made to read in like high school. I wish like it like more of it more of it was like this. Actually, um, it just sounds like nice when you're reading it in your head. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I just have good things to say about it. I can't really find anything particularly wrong about it. I can't find anything particularly wrong with it. I don't even think it even needs to rhyme in sort of a more structured sense because it sounds poetic anyway. Like when you sort of go through it, I think sometimes like the random rhyming is better than the stuff you can like predict, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I especially don't like it when there's a lot of repetition, even though I did some, I think. Um,
Honestly, I think I like repetition when it's used on purpose um, to give either a sense of like despair or meaninglessness to something. I really like the ending, for example, of the Hollow Man, where
Mm.
it goes, "This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends," and then it's not with a bang but with a whimper. In that case, the emphasis on this repetition is like war becomes monotonous to a degree. the idea of killing or being killed almost loses its impact, and men get used to this kind of violence.
So what's a archeon or archeon? How you say that?
Arson is it's a very archaic term for like um, a figure of power. I wouldn't say it's a king, but it's something like of a ruler. So I was imagining this land where there were like ancient vampires, and this person got like stabbed, and he developed some kind of sickness because of the wound, and he was pretty much begging either for salvation from this pain or to be freed by death, and instead he falls for this vampiric entity that gives him immortal life but doesn't free him from the pain. So he got tricked to become a servant of this figure.
There's somebody in the chat that says that they are from Japan. And ask where we are from.
Yeah, we're all in Great Britain right now. You know, I looked at the demographics for my channel. That like one video, and apparently like 0.7% of viewers were from Japan. So like the Japan
Interesting.
audience does exist apparently.
Finally, we are
Yeah,
breaking through.
yeah, we're breaking into the international audience. It must be all like the anime girls we put on stuff or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As soon as we get someone from Saudi Arabia, then we know that we really have
Yeah,
a
exactly.
yes.
So what's a canto?
Canto is like um, it's an old form of poetry, and I wanted to use that one to divide like the different moments in the story,
Yeah, so basically like
as he recollects, yeah, as this undead creature recollects the different moments of his life. He looks at his present and then his past, and then he goes back to the present and reminds himself this descent into darkness. And now his only hope is to finally die at the end of the other figure that it's unnamed and unknown.
mhm. So so it's called the fire of sin because he's suffering, I guess. Oh, is there another
Yeah, I
yeah.
played a little bit on the thing is this person in his despair accepted to be turned into a servant of a vampire, but at the same time this didn't free him from the pain of his sickness. So in time he came to realize, in a sense, that was his the pay, the bargain chip he received for accepting the gift of of the vampire. Like all his pain, all his sins have been turned into this lasting pain, and he cannot get freed until he's killed by someone, and he cannot kill himself, of course, because being a servant of someone else, he is not free anymore.
I mean, so for the background image for this stream, I used what's it called again? Let me check. Tsukiyomi Moonface. So it's some vampire anime with a Lolita or something. Uh, eh, eh,
Why?
uh,
Why it's always like this? Like 99, I think only Vampire Hunter D is one of the few cases where no, oh yeah, she may look like a 9 years old, but actually,
uh,
okay.
yeah, actually,
Oh, this
surprisingly, there's not that many of them. At least according to the TV Tropes page, there's only like five. Five. Oh no, actually, there's quite a few of them. I was wrong. Let me check again.
because I know a lot of characters that fall into that, like from a lot of different animes, even those who
One,
I
two,
didn't see.
three.
Because I was just looking
There's
through
there's only
vampire
there's
characters.
yeah. There's only seven there in the anime and manga. I was surprised too. I
Mm.
thought that there would be more. I guess maybe there are more.
There are different forms, like I'm talking vampires, demons.
Oh yeah. Doesn't necessarily. It's just the 400-year-old vampire.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one which people talk about.
She
Uh,
may look like she's only this
yeah.
age, but
So I'm reading.
okay.
I'm reading the entry for an anime called Dance in the Vampire Band. Mina Tepes is a 400-year-old queen of all vampires, while possessing the body of a prepubescent girl with long hair worn in girlish pigtails, often wearing a long, elegant Gothic Lolita dress. Her true form is a curvy naked woman.
Oh
Um,
god.
so,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, Tepes is the it's one of the titles of Vlad the Third, so
so
makes sense that she's a
yeah.
vampire.
So when it comes to vampires in anime and generally like immortals, like it's always about them like feeling sorry for being immortal or something. Like
To a degree, it's something that I really like
Yeah.
when they reflect upon their own immortality and how they achieved it. Even the original tale of Dracula was told by Bram Stoker had something of that melancholy, of this regret of doing something for someone and then later regretting it.
yeah, because I don't know, like when you like I remember like a few years ago when I used to watch film critic channels like the critical drink, but not him. I haven't heard him say that, but like people who will complain about how like new vampires have all become emo, feeling sorry for themselves and being feminine and attractive rather than just being monsters. that,
I think
Yeah.
the
Well,
thing is it's how you play with those two sides of the coin, the monster side and the tragic side. Very often is how you deal with those two halves that matters the most.
yeah. I think if you just want a vampire as a monster, you would have to go back quite a long way, right? I mean,
Hmm.
um,
To a degree, the modern conception of vampires as something tragic and with this kind of sorrowful existence linked to them. It's something that came out of the Romantic movement, the Sturm und Drang in Germany to a degree, which was the forefather of the Gothic literature. So Bram Stoker, or even Polidori, which was Bram Stoker's, I think was one of his assistants, who was credited with the first modern vampire tale, simply called The Vampire. Uh, Whereas it's from that lineage that you get this idea of the tragically romantic yet monstrous creature. Of course,
yeah.
it's
I mean,
dumbed down to a degree in modern times, but it was already there.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I mean, as you said, I think Dracula very clearly um does have like multiple dimensions to
Hmm.
him. I'm thinking of a Nightwalker right now, which is like um it is basically just a story about like a dark, a broody vampire
detective.
Hmm.
who like regrets, yeah, who like regrets turning the girl, and coincidentally, she's also she also gets old and is still in the body of yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I I,
uh,
I think like the very extreme and you get Shiki, where like you're supposed to feel sorry for the vampires who
yeah,
are
To a
getting
degree, I
murdered.
always saw that as also a weapon at their disposal. That sometimes they play on their own tragedy to attract their victims. And I think there was a movie. I don't remember who the director was, but I do remember it was one of the producers was Andy Warhol, and it's called Blood for Dracula, where it sort of plays on this like, oh yes, I'm a decadent noble, my life is tragedy, etc. To get closer to its future victims.
Yeah. So basically, what happens in Shiki is that during the first half, it's the vampires hunting the humans, but during the second half, it's in an isolated town, and many of the people have become infected and become vampires. So the remaining humans band together and start basically murdering the half which became vampires, essentially. Um,
Tolerance has a limit.
yes. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
I would say this. I would say that that Ashiki is not too far away from a time of Eve. Sort of in like a
Oh
meta
yeah.
sense, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like how important are humans or something. Yeah.
Mm.
Except I guess
Yeah.
I
But
guess I guess the difference is that the robots could exist without the humans, but the vampires could not exist without
They're sort of
feeding on the humans.
dependent, yeah.
well, you know, you will say that, but I mean, what what is a robot's purpose without a human?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Because
They can sort of go on, but without purpose.
Think of
Like,
the Billies.
yeah,
mm.
I guess you get if you have you watched Goprotsi?
No,
No.
I haven't watched Turbo
Yeah,
Proxy.
but because
No.
so basically every episode is directed by a different director, and it's in like a post-apocalyptic setting, and like they go to a city, the protagonist and whatever, go to a city, and like the machines, the robots are still like cleaning, keeping everything clean and all that, but like the people that they were supposed to look after all died. Yeah,
Mm.
Mm.
so.
Ah. Yeah, I was thinking about yours, your poem, and I was like, I think it'll be difficult to talk about this, to talk about yours without like ending up in like some sort of like weirder debates where we're just like arguing about like what like about like your ideas and like what you
Yeah, but I find it
and both
quite
things.
nice. Actually. It's like it moves to different places, touches different topics. But I think that the connecting thread is like sort of like an inquisitive look into uh, what it means to be human to a degree.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
what it feels like is
what it gives value to this this
yeah,
attempt
you know.
to feel alive.
Yeah, I mean, what it reminds me of is like someone's chin of thought, you know. It's
It is.
like yeah, like I just like like you know you'll like sit in bed or something, or like you'll be like doing nothing, and like your mind will start wandering, and then you'll think about all sorts of random stuff, and then you'll but you know it would all have like a it would all sort of be chained together. It will be it will be disconnected
Mm,
thoughts, but they'll be chained together. Sort of like one after another. If if I'm
sort of
questioning
like
this, I need to then question this other thing. And you just sort of lose yourself for like 10 minutes. Just like thinking.
it
And
reminded me a
it
little
looks like
bit.
this.
Reminded me a little bit of the few times I consider to a live concert, to like a party, and you are kind of drunk. It's also noisy around you. There are talking things, and you just either go outside to get some fresh air, or you try to find a corner when you can just let your mind flow, and everything makes no sense, and at the same time it's all connected. You can find like a common thread that links all your thoughts. It's like this kind of flow of thoughts coming out of you, like if it were like a string,
Mm.
and it sort of makes sense in the moment, and then you can think back about it and still get snippets of
Yeah.
ideas here and there.
So
Something like
my excuse for that, it doesn't really make much sense. is that I kind of felt like if I tried to like try to make an argument, a coherent argument from A to B to C, then
Yeah.
wouldn't really be a poem at all. It would be it would be just an essay.
Yeah,
Would be slam poetry.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it does make it it does kind of benefit that it isn't like that it is like disconnected and like you're not being like overly formal, you know. It's it became its own thing, right? Yeah. Plus the anime reference I think helps out a lot as well. And
Sadly, I didn't catch. I
Um,
didn't catch those.
I mean, obviously, I was basically I, the whole thing is sort of a bunch of ideas that I had mostly based on that Ango anime. I'm sure that um, at least Kiasmo probably realized that. Um, yeah, the whole thing about falling at the start,
Mm.
and also um, yeah, yeah also the monologue where he says that he's searching for something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it gave that
yeah, that's
that Ango Sakaguchi vibe of I don't care because I care, but I really don't care because.
because yeah, um, yeah, yeah. This is another reason why I don't like writing poems is that it's kind of easy to become a bit pretentious, like when I'm talking about
Well,
literature.
you see, actually, what I meant here was a
Yes,
deeper reflection on.
yeah. I guess it's also a good excuse to be able to make like sweeping statements
Mhm. I
without any
believe that's one
justification.
of the beauties of poetry, though, the fact that it's kinda there is a to a degree an interpretative level. You need to be able to connect to it with your own ideas and your own experiences, and that's what can give you a different point of view on it. It's like one of those figures that, depending on which angle you look at them, the shape is completely different. Like those 3D models, they are like geometrical shapes on one side, and you turn it's just a cube, and then you look at a third angle, and it's a tangle of like looking like a web or something. Maybe it's like a spider web. That's the
mm,
power of poetry. Some of it that you cannot fully understand, and yet you can imprint your own meaning upon certain parts.
yeah. I mean, I will say that
Unless it's an epic, like it's an epic poem where everything is sort of explained to you, at least what the story, etc., and then certain details may be lost if you don't understand on a deeper level the society and the time frame in which the story takes place.
yeah, exactly right. I did find a certain part that I liked a lot. There's like it's like two lines, and it goes. Literature is different from honesty without tricks. It is the underlying truth of literature that a life of lying is the basis of everyday life. I thought
I
that was
kind of
like
like that one really.
pretty
It
good.
was
Yeah,
pretty, yeah, it was really good.
but yeah, like this is the benefit of just like writing it down. You know, like sometimes you will just like say these like things that are like pretty
Emo.
insightful. You know, well yeah, maybe okay, maybe emo. You know,
Yeah,
it's natural to downplay your own work, right? But you know, sometimes it does actually help, like just to write down your thoughts. You know,
yeah,
because
Some
I've had it.
lines stick out, and then you can use them as a jumping board for something more in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I've
Or
got a
can
book.
bring forth some discussions about what it means, what it may lead to, etc.
Yeah, I do a thing where I write down like small snippets of of what I'm thinking about. Um, but what I find is that I will like read it read like I'll come back to it and I will like read something. Um, you know, and it can be like I don't know. I find like a particular weird one.
Why do you do that to
Okay,
yourself?
I was okay, right, okay, so um fall off a cliff into the self. That's what I wrote down. Now, okay, I remember at the time this made a lot of sense, and I could have linked it to like other stuff, right? but I have no idea what to do with this now. I don't know, like though at the same time it actually can be good. You know, so long as there is good music, everything is bearable. Which is like I don't know, that's usable, but even so, I don't think I'm ever gonna bring myself to actually write that into something for real. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, for example, this last sentence could be used as the inner thoughts of a
Yeah,
character at the end of the story. Maybe it's like after a beating, he's riding back home. He turns on the radio, and there is one song that reminds him of better times. And
yeah, exactly.
battered up, like bloodied and everything. That's the last thought of like it's like
I
this
mean,
sort of like ironic twist to the end of the story.
I
He
mean
was like,
that's the
with good
advantage.
music
Yeah,
at the finish.
yeah. I mean that's the advantage of like writing a story with characters because then you can put your own words into them out, so the criticism is not coming
At
at
the
you.
right time as well.
Um,
Yeah. I guess
You can
it's
treat
as you say,
that
yeah,
sentence
Chesme,
in
right? It's
certain ways too. That's the thing. Like, can be a psychopath. Like, it's starting to torture someone. Is upset that this person is screaming. Turns on the radio and said that same sentence. It's a completely different. it turns the you turn the scene into something darkly comedic.
mm, mm. Yeah. I mean, I guess the real benefit to just writing down some of your like standout thoughts um is that they're like seeds, right? You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
they may or may not grow, but
They are
it's more
there.
likely
Yeah.
you know it's better to have the seeds already there, right? Than to like try and make some, you know, sort of on the day, you know.
Yeah. Coming, have it come from nothing. It's better to at least have a nugget, a small idea,
I mean,
even a sentence, and from there you try to
has it
make
ever
it go.
occurred to you guys that like a good turn of a phrase came to you, but like it's not what you actually believe, but it's a very good phrase. So
Hmm.
so do you say it or don't
You
Yeah.
you?
try and sell it to someone
Like
yes, I could use this to advertise myself online, and then I can trick some people to send me money, the fools. One of those online.
yeah, I mean
In
like
a good
you
practice.
don't actually believe in what in the words that came to your mind, but it's like a good turn of phrase.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds good.
totally
Yeah.
cynical about towards it, but you can see the utility of
Yeah, like do you say
this.
that? Do you say it or do you not say it? I guess that's another good thing. Where if you have characters in a story, then it could like you could have a character which says things that you don't actually believe, at least at the time that you are writing that character. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, I guess. I mean, even when I write essays, I don't. I don't really worry about structure that much, or whether everything follows each other. Maybe I should worry more about it. But then again, I'm just writing for the internet, so who cares?
Everything goes.
Yes. Um, yeah, and sometimes like I'll have trouble coming up with a title because like this like the, like the title is supposed to say something about the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
Well, a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, like
people would do the other thing. Like a lot of people have good titles, but they just cannot find a way to truly explain what they
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Like,
true. Yeah, I mean, oftentimes my titles are just random. It's like or they just like name like a small part of of the larger story, and I just stick with that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like
Mm.
my real problem is ending things. I just like
Endings are
yeah,
always one of the toughest part because on a degree you wish to go on. It's like, I would like to see where this leads or where this
yeah,
character
you know,
ends
yeah,
up.
yeah. It's like you know, while you're at it, you may as well describe the rest of your problems. You know, it's like
Also,
uh,
that if you are explaining something like,
yeah.
and don't you hate this kind of thing as well? It's like, this is not really connected yet. It's sort of connected. You want to include it. Like,
Did you guys
you need to push yourself to say,
so Kiasmo, did you have any trouble finding a title for this one, or was it easy?
well, I sort of cheated because this was something like the whole story. If you want, I'll write it later on. But it's like it was a blurb that I wanted to use as an idea for a short story within a larger story. So I already had the idea, and that was the title. Again, I was referring to a couple of passages from the Bible,
Mhm.
so it came rather easily. In a sense, the title preceded
Yeah.
the story.
So the original title I had for this one was A Power of Facing, which comes from Orwell's essay on called Why I Write, where he claims to have a power of facing unpleasant facts, but then
Hmm.
um, like what unpleasant facts am I talking about here? So I gave up that idea. Then I thought about maybe to name it "To Live Is to Fall," the first line. Um, but then, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that might have been a
Yeah,
better
I like
title.
the idea
Yeah,
that it's a combination between these two authors,
yeah,
like the titles of some of or parts of their works have been.
yeah. But the problem is that like unless I explain that like nobody knows what the hell is a
Well,
power
now
of
we know.
falling. But yeah, but just as well, given that it's probably just you two who will read this. So uh, so as long as you know, I guess it's fine. Um,
yeah. Well, you know, w- we're your biggest fans. You know, we're yeah.
oh, um, okay.
We'll enjoy everything you write. You know,
Yeah.
don't worry. We're your fanatics.
Yes, yes. As long as as I also endorse whatever
Yeah,
you write as
exactly.
well.
It's
Um,
a parasocial symbiotic relationship. Now that's a mouthful, but I think that would describe it.
yeah, I mean, you do sometimes get
I think
yeah.
that's too harsh. I mean, we can like directly interact with one another. Like a parasocial relationship is like a little bit. It's not. It's like I don't know. It's like
So it's more like what you see on
being like
YouTube.
down bad for like some like fictional character or something. I don't know.
Well, we can
I
learn to
I guess you could call it
about
a codependent.
okay. I think we can settle down on that.
um. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Um. Okay. What else did I say? I guess I could briefly describe what the hell is going on. So the first thing is basically it basically comes from the conclusion. Basically, I rewrote the conclusion from what's it called, a discourse on decadence, which we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know that when he says that humans can't keep on falling forever, they will come up with something
Mm-hmm.
else. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
when one set of ideas fails and everything seems to go to hell, like just keep calm because somebody will come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Can find new ways to fall.
yeah, it doesn't really matter where it begins, essentially. Um,
Mm-hmm. Which is a bit cynical, but it's kind of true.
Yeah. So
At least for the
I've just noticed that this first section like rhymes.
yeah, that was I noticed as well. Like the beginning rhymes, and then slowly it moves to a more free flow
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I gave up. That's what happened. Uh,
Nothing wrong with that, I would say.
yeah. And originally, I wanted this third or rather fourth line to be so it's humans will form uh, wings in the forms of lights and illusions. And originally, it was men and women will form wings in the forms of lights and illusions. But I thought it was too long, so. And the reason why
Yeah.
the reason for that is that it has humans twice, and it's like can't you come up with another word?
Well, you could say man.
Yeah. I think I do that a little bit later on. So then I talk about being a student because wink wink. That's my username. So
Yeah, right. I picked up on that.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yes. So I'll have a go at reading these first two sections. Hopefully I won't mess up too badly. Um, to live is to fall. Humans are too weak to suffer indefinitely, to fall completely. Humans will form wings in the forms of lies and illusions, with feathers made of dreams and illusions, to raise themselves higher, only to fall harder. Pardon me. I am completely hopeless. Why? Because I am no teacher. I am a student, wink, and yet I dare to lecture. I am but a single ball of unease. I am just searching, be it women, the truth, whatever. I leave it to your imagination. Yeah, I mean, like that like starting part is actually
Yeah.
like pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love how like you like name drop yourself. It's just very funny. Um,
um,
That we can do that
yeah. Um,
either Fahrenheit or myself.
like I don't like it when stuff is like even if it's something dark, I like it when like there's a joke in there somewhere, like a little bit of
yeah,
irony.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I generally am inclined as well to add some comedy to my stuff. If you couldn't tell already,
yeah,
especially after like last week.
yeah. I think you more than made up for not writing a poem this week by working by working on your
Yeah, like
uh,
I'm thinking about it, I may have like burnt myself out last time.
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I should have given you more time for that.
No,
Uh,
it's fine. It was gonna be awful anyway.
yeah. So that thing about pigs in human form, like, doesn't really mean anything. I just okay. So just leave it at that.
Very nice reference.
Um, yeah. So then there's the reference to the best anime of all time, Fate Stay Night.
Yeah.
Is it actually from Fate Stay Night or some other Fate? Because that's
I'm pretty sure it is Fate Stay Night. Because it's a UBI where he says like just because you're right doesn't mean you're correct. No, no, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
in
That's like the quote in Unlimited Blade Works. But yeah, the famous one in Stay Night is people die when they are killed.
That reminds me of the advice on the Doom manual. Shoot the cyber demon, it's dead. Like, we are on the same level of philosophy.
Okay. So, um, what else have I said? So I don't like miserable honesty. Uh, so basically emo shit. I guess
Yeah, like all those
like this
like
stuff.
black pilled individuals,
Yeah.
maybe.
So basically, like I'm being little bit ironic, I guess, because like this is basically what I'm criticizing there, right? So it's like a half serious, half not serious thing going on there. Um, yeah, like I don't actually believe that like the truth of literature is that that life of flying is the basis of everyday life. So like earlier I said like I said like sometimes you get a good turn of phrase in your mind, and you might not actually believe it, but like, should I write it or not? And yeah, just write it is what I say. At least it'll give people something to think about or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, like the self-reflective. Again, I guess again I'm criticizing the black pill, whatever. Yeah. Uh, Nothing betrays a person more than pleasure. Because nothing can be fantasized more than pleasure. I think everybody will agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I don't. Again, this is a line which is not connected to anything. You do not speak in public with courtesy, but by your elegance. Your soul's not true or noble. Again, just a random line which came to mind. Yeah. I think there's no need to talk about the rest. I guess I might probably post I post this week's essays on my Otaking site maybe. If you guys are alright with that, of course. I mean, Casmo, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm fine with it. Yeah, you can post all my work there.
Yeah, I guess I'll post last week's one there.
I have everything backed up on the like everything like grouped together in the Black Lodge. If you need like quick access.
Yeah. Oh, you posted. Did you post it on the Black Lodge? Oh yeah.
Not today's poems, but
Yeah,
like all
the
the
old
past
one.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. You should post them on your site as well. Why not? Especially your own ones, or even my ones. I don't care.
I mean, to be honest, my website does have like cobwebs growing on it now. I probably need to I probably need to go and do something with it.
Yeah. I get. I mean, this weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, whenever you are bothered, streams are a good excuse to write something for your site. I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh man, I was thinking what we should do for next time.
So for next week, I want to get that book about Guy Nats out of the way.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't think that doing the book and both, unless you guys think you can do it, reading both the book and also writing a story.
Alas, I don't think I will be
Yeah.
able.
Then let's just focus on the book and get rid of the book.
Yeah, I also think it's just better having like it just about it just being about one thing because if like the stream title is like when the memoirs plus like something else, it's gonna look a bit messy.
No, I mean if we were to do that, it would probably be two different streams, like one on Monday and Tuesday. But
sounds kind of busy.
Yeah, it does.
Indeed.
So yeah, I guess the last good bit which I wrote was like I was kind of just saying whatever in the middle there because nothing came to mind. So the last good bit which I wrote was about the novels, I guess.
Yeah, that was a nice look on what novels are like. There is an idealistic level to almost all novels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a sense, art is this lie, but because it's sort of not just pure reality, it's not just like this utilitarian thing. It's it sort of like transcends reality and it
Yes,
it
more of a tool
becomes more
to
true,
try and understand reality.
Yeah. Also, my understanding is that, like, sometimes certain artists get convinced that basically their preferred form of art is like the superior form of art, which brings together everything from all the other. I think that there was a German. What's his name? the the guy that Nietzsche was friends with, but then he wasn't friends with. But then
Yeah, Wagner.
Wagner, yeah, I think Wagner, I think believed that the opera was like the superior form of art because it brought in music, writing, dance, choreography, and everything.
And Dostoevsky and it was Tolstoy who was really opposed to this.
Yeah, and
He insulted him in one of his works that is called "What Is Art."
yeah. I think there's an essay by Orwell where basically Orwell hits back at Tolstoy because Tolstoy there is not just criticizing Wagner but also Shakespeare as a hack.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
to be honest, he criticizes himself as well, saying that he wrote a lot of useless things. So at least he's trying to be a bit more diplomatic than in other pieces he wrote.
yeah, and I remember reading Ango Sakaguchi. He was talking about how the novel is the ultimate a form of art that brings all the elements of life, and you can examine things in a way that you can't. Uh, yeah, I think that's all bollocks, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know about the ultimate, but it
I
is
do
just a
believe
tool.
it depends on the
It's a very
goals.
good tool. Um, right.
yeah, but basically, like it's kind of easy for people to believe that what they are doing is like the most important thing
Yeah.
ever. Um, and
I like to paint, therefore painting is the best
yes,
way to.
exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I like sculpture, and therefore sizzling away at a rock is the best way. No, it's and so on. So forth.
Yeah, guys. Honestly, if all things were wrote in the form of a VN, were completed over like a couple of days, I think we would be in a much better place culturally. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard people say that like the visual novels are like a superior form than anime and everything else because like I don't know. I, I think it's only. I don't want to like be like subjectivist or whatever, but it's a lot up to personal preference and also like it's not just about the medium. Like
Yeah,
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 of course. The
it also
important thing
depends
is,
like who's using these tools, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
a
exactly.
great artist, is going to use these tools to the greatest extent, right? I mean,
yeah.
if
Of
like,
course, different
you
artists
know,
have different
Yeah,
proficiencies.
but I think that like when people like Wagner, like when they were talking about how their form was the best art, the best form or medium of art, they were also thinking that I think probably even people like Charles Dickens thought that like they could change the world through their art or whatever. I'm
To a degree, for sure.
I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit dubious about it sometimes. Other times, I feel
Depends also
yeah.
on the on their currents. Like there are some currents that are a bit more humble in their scope, and others, for example, the moralists, those writers who are writing to say, you see, this is how societies should work, how people should behave, how children should behave. Usually, they
Yeah.
are so pedantic that that's
Yes.
why
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
they never lived up to their lofty ideals oftentimes. Like
Yeah.
Rousseau always talk about the contract, the social contract, the good of humanity, etc. He
L-
sent all his children to an
Yeah. I mean,
orphanage.
like people like I've heard people say, for example, that like because Charles Dickens wrote these novels about like children suffering and whatever, that is what improved the situation of the working class, blah blah blah, whatever. But like, was it really that, or like, weren't there factors
Who
outside?
knows?
Yeah,
Maybe to a
to a
degree,
degree, but
but for sure,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think you can say it's because of Dickens. He
yeah,
may have had a role, maybe one of the factors.
yeah,
yeah,
um,
you know, the novel, or like the story can actually, can affect what people think. It can affect their
Mhm.
emotions. I mean,
I,
Like
I,
I
I
do
there's
remember,
like
for
a
example,
there's a tremendous amount of power you can have if you like
mhm,
control the
I,
the media,
I
because basically
yeah.
two
more people
examples
are going to
come
like
to
listen
mind.
to fictional works than
Yeah.
non-fictional works, right? you
But
know,
for example, there was, the story of Pope Leo the XII, how he was called the Nazi Pope, Hitler's Pope. Well,
yeah,
one of the reasons why this voice spread is because there was a opera piece, sorry, a theatrical piece about this, and a lot of people believed that that was the truth. Or the famous quote that is attributed to Voltaire: "I may not agree with what you say, but we fight to the death to defend it, so to defend your right to say it." Again, it comes from opera, like a theatrical piece about Voltaire, but it wasn't. He never said that. Or uh, elementary Watson.
Yeah, he never said that.
It's you
Obviously, never
never
said it. Yeah,
find it there.
yeah,
Frankenstein is not the monster; is the creator. And there are endless examples of the media being either misunderstood or sending the wrong idea or corrupting its own sources to a degree even, and then
yeah,
causing all kind of misunderstanding.
yeah. And obviously,
For example,
yeah,
sorry, go first.
obviously, like when it's fiction and like, for example, Frankenstein. So it's a lie to begin with because it's not real. So it's a lie about a
Mhm.
lie. Yeah, but I guess what I was thinking of, um, like that, like from the perspective of an individual artist, like I think um, if you're going into if you're going to become an artist with the idea that like you're going to change the world or something by creating art, you're probably going to be disappointed. I think you'd probably be better off by
Mm,
thinking that like you will affect some individuals on an individual basis
yeah,
rather than society as
mhm,
a whole.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the artists I can think of who this is one of the like main motivations is Miyazaki, right? I mean, he says that like you have to create art aimed at changing the world. Um, Obviously, Miyazaki has the talent, or had the talent to back that up. But I mean, like most artists just want to like create beauty, right? Or like make a living,
mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
no, I,
Yeah, so basically, like at the other end, you have writers or artists who like will just make something just because they think it's interesting without any social message, or like without wanting to necessarily impart any lesson, um,
yeah,
at
yeah,
least
I believe
consciously.
the Russian school is the opposite of this. For example, they want to try and say something meaningful about life, even if they talk about um, the dredge of humanity, even if they talk about the worst people in the world.
Yeah,
So, of course, again, this depends on the school and the currents from which the artist hails from, or from whom it's being influenced.
yeah. I
And
think
even there,
yeah,
you can use someone's tool in a different way,
yeah. I
or
think
some ideas in a
yeah.
different way.
I think a good way to keep a balance is to insert a little bit of humor here and there, even when you're very serious.
A little bit
Yeah,
of levity can help
yeah,
usually, as long as it's not like too obnoxious, and that's why I cannot stand so many comedies today.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they are too
It's
on the
just
nose.
yeah. I mean, it's usually like when it's like a
when
little
it's
bit too juvenile, right?
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
Or too many quips. Everyone has a
yeah,
quip.
I know. Like when like in the Marvel movies, everyone like has to try to
That's one of the
sound like
worst
Robert
examples
Downey
of
Jr. Yeah, um, I think
if everyone is narky and
yeah,
has attitude.
one snarky character is enough.
Yeah,
basically.
it's enough. Sometimes it's already too much. It's like having 4 or 5 comedic reliefs. Be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At that
which
point,
characters you
yeah.
complete?
I mean, at that point, you might as well just like make a straight comedy, and
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly.
Yeah. Um.
It's about the balance of the different elements to a degree and knowing when is the right time. Like with every single joke, they need to be told at the right time and in the right tone.
Yeah. I like a lot of people seem to think that comedy is usually the wrong genre, but if you want to impart um, a message of some kind. I don't think that's necessarily true, but it's more difficult, I guess. Um,
Yeah, it's also because many of these terms became distorted, like our understanding what comedy, what parody, what satire is, has been blurred a little bit. And the same thing with tragedy and drama and so on and so
yeah,
forth.
I think when people talk about genres, usually what they think is basically the different cliches attributed
Yeah, the
to,
tropes to a
yeah,
degree
yeah,
influence what we understand is this kind of genre or that genre.
like
And again, it's
yeah.
another, the problem is not that it's wrong, but it's an oversimplification.
Mhm. I mean, I guess the best example would be the website TV tropes, right? Um,
Mm.
where like what they mean by tropes are basically cliches. I guess.
Became a bit too, again, the term broadened up to the point where it almost lost the
Yeah,
meaning of what a
I th-
trope is.
I think basically the way that that website and that kind of thinking started out is that like, so if you're writing a comedy, this is what you need to have in it. These are the cliches that you need
Some
to.
of the yeah,
Yeah,
some of the elements, like foundational elements that go into making a comedy are this, and that.
yeah, like
And
uh,
then they became more like of the signifiers of these elements, and at the end it's just these stereotypes or even worse like cliches.
yeah,
Sometimes they
and
replace the meaning of the trope.
I don't think that works which are dark are necessarily immune from cliches and stereotypes either.
Oh
Um,
no, of course.
um,
Every genre can fall into the same pitfalls of reusing or misunderstanding certain things that worked in previous works.
yeah. Oh, yeah. For some reason, that August in the Water discussion got 28,000 views. I don't know why. Yeah, but there's almost no
Probably people think it's the
the movie.
movie.
Yeah, yeah. But is this movie that popular? I don't know. That's so many.
Like I'm not sure. Maybe it just got picked up by
The
the
algorithm.
algorithm or something.
I think half of the views on my channel now are just from that video for some reason now.
Out of
That's fair
morbid
enough.
curiosity, we need to find out what made it work. We need to replicate it.
Yeah. We should do some more like live action like 90s films. You
I,
know.
I guess I mean it's not a 90s film.
Oh yeah, like early 2000s. Yeah.
I know, no, I mean that film. What's it called? Tokyo Story, which we might talk about.
Mhm.
Maybe the keyword is Japanese movie. I don't know. Um, yeah.
Oh
Um,
look, a movie. Uh,
But we
movie,
did
mov-
quite a
a
few
movie in Japan.
we did quite a few Japanese movies. We also did I think we did already 3, 4 of them.
we did Love
Like we did
Exposure, August in the
Show
Water.
Where Your Books
Yeah,
Selling in the Streets. We did quite a few, honestly.
yeah,
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Also, the infamous Love Exposure stream as well.
Which
yes.
one?
Love Exposure. Uh,
Yeah. But where
Ah,
I ended up like fighting myself. That was pretty funny.
Right.
That movie was a trip.
Yeah.
Even if
Actually,
I still think the Christian imagery did nothing in the end.
yeah. I'm actually like watching it again right now.
By the way, if you're rewatching
Mm.
it, make sure to get the torrent for the TV series, which has, I think, 30 to 45 extra minutes.
Oh yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I think you sent me that one.
yeah, yeah.
Like, there
Yeah.
might be some pacing issues. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be interesting to see.
I think the original had like 2 extra hours or something ridiculous like that, but they forced it. What's its name? Son of Sion or something to cut it down because it's too much.
People
Yeah.
were falling asleep. I bet.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of huge like 6 hour long films. I don't know. I think like you
It's like
can't
we
make
watched
like
Empire
I don't
by
think
Andy
anyone is gonna
Warhol.
go to a cinema and like watch a 6 hour film, right? I don't think many people are gonna be up for that. But I think like if you like upload it online,
Oh yeah,
people
that's
I
for
mean,
people would like
sure.
watch it.
uh,
You know, I think it's like more like I think it's more doable now than it ever has been.
Oh, of course, now
Um,
we got services. Maybe, but this is the thing. Maybe it could have been made into our online series like they do right now. But of course, different times. So he could try to do it again.
yeah, I think
At least try.
unfortunately most of the extra footage got ruined because that's what
Oh,
happens. Yeah,
shit.
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
think as if he had
So
it, he
just
could
like
have made
Stalker.
it.
um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'll see if I yeah.
Except luckily, in the case of Love Exposure, the actors and director did not get irradiated and die from cancer.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I
didn't.
God was on their side. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God, and anime as well.
as well, yes. Um,
The power of anime protected.
yes. Um, and panty shorts. So I think there's nothing else really left to discuss. Um, unless there's anything else you guys have to say about either my poem or Kiasmo's one.
Um, they were both good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I tried to finish like I wanted to make it rhyme, but the scheme, like the rhyming scheme, it's if you were to look at its skeleton, would be like double scoliosis or something.
Yeah.
At least
Oh
I
look,
was able to fight
this
with
one
it.
had been born with like an extra 2 arms, and like those extra 2 arms like growing off the back or something. Yeah. But yeah, that's fine.
Is the human centipede poem? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So the next big thing on the channel I think is going to be session 0 of the D&D campaign that Barogandam wants to do, and hopefully I can coax him into letting me also record the actual
Yeah,
session.
could be nice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially because maybe a few jokes can come up when you are playing.
Yeah,
In
basically,
the intro.
yes. And I'm sure it will be awkward, and like half of us will be like, "What's an initiative roll or whatever it's called?"
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be constantly asking like,
Yes,
how on earth do I play?
verses from the DM, from the dungeon master, or
Yeah.
I
what can
guess
I do?
I guess like in the title you could put like a new player friendly, you know.
um,
Easy mode,
or,
Yeah.
or,
which
or,
is for noobs.
or maybe like learn D&D with us or something.
Yeah, exactly. And all of the sessions are just gonna be are just gonna be like Bio like getting more and more like annoyed with us.
Um, yeah. We are just going to like take a boat, and like he has made this like large setting based in Japan, and we're just going to take a boat into the Pacific and just leave it all there, and either die in the middle of the sea or find something.
You wanted to set this in Japan, eh? We are moving to the Philippines. Deal with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go on like the Khmer Aztec. I don't know if like you've like wrote this into the story or anything, but yeah, I'm going there now.
Yeah, so it's basically going to be. So I'm going to stop the stream because we're not talking about about the short story.